rounds, two brand new winners. Season 14 has thrown the proverbial cat amongst the pigeons. The top three in the championship from last season have a total of one podium between them all so far. If that doesn't say there's new talent in town, I don't know what does. Can the likes of Perez, Eisler, and Pinto return things to normalcy for themselves? Or will it be new blood continuing to shake things up? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 3 of the Precision Racing League's American iRacing Tuesday series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Taylor Burris. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Ducky Beard. Taylor, the third round brings us to our third different continent, Suzuka Circuit. What's the skinny?
Well, welcome everyone, konnichiwa, to Suzuka City, Japan, home of Suzuka International Racing Course. Opened in 1962, this 3.6 mile or 5.8 kilometer 17-turn course was originally designed as a Honda test track. Suzuka is one of the few circuits to have a figure 8 style course with part of the back straightaway passing over the front stretch. One of Japan's most famous sports cars events is the Suzuka 1000 that has been in a wide variety of different series. Suzuka is a mist of twists and turns that has even caused the most seasoned veterans to make mistakes. To give you the chance to see what it is like to master this course, let us take you on for a GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Kevin Brown behind the wheel of the GSRC BMW, so let's do a lap around Suzuka. Heading down into turn 1, it's a fast kink and bleeds straight into turn 2. Going too wide into here will be difficult and dangerous. The draft may give you an opportunity, but someone will need to back out or else it's bad news. Lots of banking here in 2 to really carry your speed. After that, you're sent straight into the S's where the line is absolutely critical to a good lap time. With each corner flowing into the next, it's all about setting up for the following turn. Perhaps the most important of these is the final right-hander where you need to hug the right side to allow yourself a good run into Dunlop Corner. In a GT3 car, it's flat out all the way up to Degner 1, so getting a bad exit out of the S's could leave you vulnerable. Plus, you'll see Degner 1 here is tight and fast. It's another corner that's risky to attempt going through too wide. It also leads straight into Degner 2. It's the slower corner, but more heavily embanked and rewards drivers who can carry their speed over the apex. Now we've got a little kink leading into the hairpin. This is a potential passing zone, but predicting your opponent's line can sometimes be difficult, and drivers are often caught out by a sudden defensive move. Regardless, coming out of the hairpin is another place where a good exit can be extremely important. Once again, we're going to be flat to the floor all the way through turn 12. As you reach the end of it, you'll want to drift the car to the right to set up for spoon curve. This double apexer has a fast entry and a difficult threshold. Cars spinning off after going over the limit is not an uncommon sight. And just to pile on more pressure, it dumps the car onto the backstretch. Once again, the car behind will be catching your slipstream, so once you're confident you can get the power down, you better do it. Like most important turns on this track, it leads to a fast corner where being side by side can be extra dangerous. The infamous 130R requires incredible commitment and accuracy to hit your marks. And as you exit, you'll pull the car across the track and get ready for the Casio Triangle. This is another place where passes are common, but with it being a chicane, when anyone fights back, you're both going to have to give each other room and respect to come out intact. From here, we simply power down around the final corner since we've hit the pit straight, and as long as you've managed to keep it on the black stuff and pointed forwards, you've completed the lap around Suzuka.
They see a lap, as Taylor was telling us, around what is a very twisty course. Now, this race itself is brought to you by SIMMSA. The Simulation MotorSports Association is a sim racing platform created by experienced racers. Established in 2015, the association is bringing together organizations and communities to further promote sim racing globally. Concentrating on all sims worldwide, they offer a focused opportunity for sim races to compete with each other. They also provide consultancy services to this growing eSports world. SIMMSA offers solutions for racing simulator requirements, custom-built simulator parts, complete customization, and upgrading of existing simulators. You can find them at SIMMSA.net. Big thank you to them for not just sponsoring this race, but this whole season of the series. That said, let's take a glance at what the Drivers' Championship looks like with all the craziness we've had. Karl Modoff actually leading things, and he jumped up 3 positions with that win that he took last week. That'll bump Ben Perez down into second place. Well, it doesn't bump him. He stays in second place. Just everybody shuffling around him, we should say. William Whalen, he is now tied for third with Mark McDonald. What a race that Mark had, coming from 10th on the grid. He also jumps up 3 spots. And then 1 down for Christian Eisler, who is still on our top 5 points. So I should stop downplaying him a little bit. Obviously, he's having consistency out there, but just not the speed that we're used to seeing. We also have a teams championship. Taylor, what are we looking at there?
Well, the teams championship is just full of new faces, new teams coming in, but still at the top of the leaderboard with Ben Perez and Christian Eisler is the team Bushvink Racing Team. Of course, with the consistency that the HJ Motorsports team has been up to, they moved up into the second place with Thacker and Hall. Sailors Racing Team had an excellent run at Imola, moving them up into the third position with Pinto and Gama. And then the SDS Racing Team dropped down a little bit after the terrible finishes with the Montini brothers at Imola. And then, of course, HJ Motorsports, another team with Albert and Delroy Derby moving into the top 5.
Thank you for that, Taylor. Now, qualifying is what we're looking at right now here in the American iRacing Tuesday series, but we'll get to how that's going in a moment, as we've got quite a bit of time. First, we want to tell you a little bit about what's involved in today's race. Of course, we are on round 3, as we mentioned, but it's only a 10-race season, and there's only 1 drop week involved. So that consistency that Taylor was mentioning, some of the drivers and teams having, that's going to be very, very important. There's the 3 different makes that you have on the cars. They are GTE cars that they're racing. That is the class that runs in the real world with these cars. The race distance is only 45 minutes, so a bit short compared to what these cars typically run in the real world. But they do still have 1 scheduled pit stop. That's because they've restricted the fuel cell there you see on our graphic. That doesn't mean that it's fixed setup, though. Drivers can tweak them to their liking. That can make a big difference in these high-end GT cars as to what kind of speed you can find, especially around a technical track such as Suzuka. The incident cap at 30. Well, what does that mean? That means that drivers who have an off, make contact with another car, with the wall, or spin out will collect incident points. Once they hit 30 of them, they will be disqualified right there and then. They'll disappear and will not be allowed to finish the race. So you got to keep the car clean. They also have no fast repairs, no spare car sitting and waiting. So if you damage it, that means you got to come in and get some repairs done. Hopefully you've damaged it close to where your pit stop is scheduled, not to cost you too much time out on track. Taylor, I know this is one of your favorite things to talk about, and that is the keys to the race. What are drivers going to need to pay attention to if they want to take the win today?
Well, one thing is they're going to need to have rhythm through this course. There's a lot of rhythm sections with this place, especially through the S's. Drivers are going to need to make sure that they hit the apex on each section of that in order to gain time and make sure they move up through the track without any mistakes at all. Of course, drafting is going to be a key as well. There's several nice long straightaways for a driver to utilize the draft to help gain position, make passes, and sling past their competition. But there is a couple of smaller, difficult sections, such as the hairpin. The hairpin can be very difficult to make a pass through. As long as you set your car up to get through that section of it, you'll be able to make many excellent passes. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that section of the course throughout the race tonight.
Keeping an eye on Giuliano Romagnolo, who really is clattering the curbs in that Porsche. He sits in 4th at the moment, and as he crosses the line, he does not improve with this latest lap. He does still have time to get out there, but almost 2-minute lap, so he'll get 1 warm-up and I guess 2 more to go with just 5 minutes on the clock. So we watch now Nick Harwood sitting in 3rd. Nick started out looking good last race and then ran into some trouble. Now we look at William Whalen, another driver who didn't have the cleanest of races last time, although I think he was a little bit faultless in the incident that we saw him get involved in at Tamburello. Sitting in 9th place, he's going to have to work a little bit to get himself farther up the order.
Looking at Karl Modov, our winner from last week, he's still sitting in the 8th position right now. Let's see what happens with him if he's able to work his way back up through the field in qualifying.
Well, make that the 9th position because we just saw William Whalen move himself up into 6th. Here's Modov now. He's still got a little ways to go on the lap, and that's not going to help going way wide at the hairpin.
No, it is not indeed. So we'll have to keep an eye on him, see if he's able to make up that time. But unfortunately, he's still going to be right on the line at the top 10.
As we hop over to Harwood, just has a couple corners to go. As we said, sitting in third, he has about 2/10 to chop off to try and put himself on pole. Ricardo Gama currently holds that one. And as we watch him come to the line here. Now, Taylor, before we went live, you seemed to think a little bit of doomsaying here. And it looks like Nick's going to abandon this lap. You weren't sounding very confident about them getting through the first lap clean. So, I mean, what are those danger spots that you kind of expect them to have a pile up?
Well, of course, the hairpin corner is going to be one after they come out of Dengar. And then, of course, the Casio corners, that's just such a slow-paced corner. You have to be very careful getting through there. And I've seen many incidences in other series where just so much issues and incidents can occur through there. So that's where I feel where most of the incidents may happen. But we'll have to see what happens with these GTE cars here.
Watching Alex Coffard work his way around. And he does not improve this time. Actually, this lap doesn't even count for him. Going to sit in 15th until he at least gets one more around the Carolina driver. Back to William Whalen. Yet to win one this season, though he's been looking strong, and I think this is it for his qualifying because he's coming in. Unless he comes back out immediately, he will not be able to get a timed lap in. James LeBlanc down in 22nd. Haven't got to see a whole lot of him this season. Out of the Casio Triangle. See what he can do with this 158.4 or 158.5, I should say. And it looks like he does not improve. Going to Perez now, sitting in 5th. And that lap also doesn't count for Perez.
Federico Montini coming in. See if he's got a good run. He has so far no major incidents. And he decides to bail on it.
Our poor director has been trying to catch someone on a hot lap, and it seems like nobody wants to cross the line. Nick Harwood is going to give it another go. Oh, no, actually, he's sitting in the pits at the moment.
Here comes Federico's brother, Francisco, now. Let's see if he's going to currently come down this front straightaway now. P7 in the time charts and does not improve, so he's going to probably try again for another lap.
Coffard is coming to finish his lap. I've got my eye on Carl Modoff right now, our winner from last round. He does not improve either, so let's stay on Coffard. Running in the 15th position as he crosses the line. Another one that does not count. He's only had one lap so far that is counted. He is struggling to keep this car on track. John Carini heading up to the Casio Triangle now. And this is a slow lap for him. What about Christian Eisler just behind him? He sits in 8th. Oh, and he's abandoning it. That's it for qualifying for Christian Eisler. He will do no better than the 4th row. Wow.
Here comes Ben Perez as he goes through Casio Triangle.
All
nice
right.
Smooth run.
Yeah, he's sitting on a 156.3. He comes to the line. Is this going to be an improvement? No, it does not. He's off by a few 100ths of a second on topping his time. Clock is running out, and as it ticks down to 0, everybody still on track can only finish these laps. Nobody can start a new one. Cristobal Valenzuela going to be the first one to cross. Can he improve on that 14th? No, he cannot. Thomas Ellison crossing next. He doesn't improve either. Carl Modoff coming around. Let's see what he can do. He finished 4th in the first race, 1st in the second race. That put him on top of the points. Starting from 9th is going to make it very hard for him to keep that points lead. Up to the Casio Triangle, getting it woed up, taking plenty of curb. He's gotten 3 timed laps in, only 2 of them really competitive. What's this fourth one going to be? A 156.5, which is a 10th off of his best.
Giuliano Romagnolo crosses the line right now. He does not improve on his time either. He's going to stay in the 4th position.
All right, who else do we have? Jean Carini down there, well down the order, sitting in 20th at the moment. He's got a 158.2. So far, he's only gotten one timed lap in. A number of drivers seem to be struggling with avoiding off tracks here in the qualifying session, pushing a little bit too hard. And he does improve. A 157.9 bumps him up to 17th.
Ben Perez going to try again as they go through Casio Triangle one more time. His last lap was a 56.39. He needs to improve a little bit.
Yeah, this is his last chance to get it done, and it's not good enough.
William Whalen crosses the line.
Also doesn't improve.
Lucio Vargas coming through Casio Triangle for the final time. This will be it. This will be the last guy, and he decides to bail.
All right. That will be our starting order then. Knowing that, why don't we take an opportunity to go through the starting grid? Ricardo Gama, boy, uneventful for him. He put it on the pole with his first time lap, and nobody was able to top it with that 156 flat. Jesper Derlicka, winner from round 1. He starts on the front row. Let's see if he can get his second win of the season. Nick Harwood will be P3. Row 2 is completed by Giuliano Romagnolo, who's come in with a splash his first time out last round. Let's see what the Canadian can do from 4th. Ben Perez, 3-time champion, still yet to win this season. He'll start from 5th. William Whalen, he was competitive from the get-go this season, but looking to do a little bit better. He'll start 6th. Francisco Montini will be in 7th. Next to him, it's Christian Eisler, looking for his first championship still. Then, in at 9th, it's Karl Modoff. Joseph Janowski will be P10.
Starting in the 11th position after an excellent run he had at Imola will be Mark McDonald. In the 12th position will be John Guillory, followed by Pete Mabroten in the 13th position. Cristobal Valenzuela will be starting in 14th. Alexander Cofford will be starting in the 15th position alongside Thomas Ellison in 16th. John Carini will be starting in 17th along with Federico Montini in 18th. Maxi Sorelia will be starting in 19th, and rounding out your top 20 will be Danny Duchesne.
Remy Provencher will be 21st, James LeBlanc in 22nd in his 007 machine. Lucio Vargas starts 23rd with Takeshi Kita in 24th. Then it's Rob Crouch in P25. Kyle Smith starts 26th, Justin Hall 27th, and Gary Schilling is tail end Charlie on the field in 28th. That is going to be your starting grid as we look at the cars, waiting to get everybody out there. Roof Pace Car is out on track as we just sort out a little bit of a technical issue there. Going to be not a full pace lap around here at Suzuka. Thankfully, it's long. You're running at race pace. The finally get their way onto the grid. We keep wondering whether or not we're going to see another shakeup in the results, whether we'll get another winner this season. Could we see the likes of some of last season's winner maybe return to the fore? Some of the drivers who were so dominant in times before. What can Ben Perez do? Taylor, there's a lot of question marks ahead of this race. I'm kind of curious if any of them are going to be answered.
Only time will tell. We have 45 minutes to have those questions answered here tonight. Will our returning favorites come out swinging tonight? Will our rookies and new blood competitors still show the dominant pace that they've been having? Well, we're going to find out in about 45 minutes here at Suzuka. Joe, I'm excited. Looking forward to watching this race tonight.
How about Ricardo Gama? That familiar paint scheme up towards the front, but usually it was his teammate Pinto who was up there, who is not here today, unfortunately, to compete. Sad to see that this will be his drop round, especially considering the bad result he had at Watkins Glen, the very first race of the season. So this 0 is not going to help his chances to try and take a championship at his second try. All right, the roof pace car peels off. Gama is going to have control of the fields. He's waiting to stack them up. Now he gets going. The green flag is out here at Suzuka as they stream down towards 1 and 2. It looks like we could have a three-way battle for second. Look at this. Derlicka has Romagnolo looking up the inside, just squeezes between himself and Harwood, trying to take P2 away from Jesper, and he gets it done.
Excellent pass. William Whalen, though, has to worry about Ben Perez behind him, but Whalen closing in on Nick Hardwood up through the SSA Go. Whalen all over, beaten almost on the back bumper of Nick Hardwood, but the battle for the lead still heating up, though, as they head up towards Dunlop.
Way to go for Billy there, moving himself up one spot at the start and already threatening on Harwood. Behind Whalen, that is Perez, one of the drivers he needs to watch out for, who usually seems to find his way forward. Now coming through Degner 1 and 2, still pretty much single file as the drivers try to get through this first lap clean.
Down into the hairpin they go. Looks like Derlicka looks to the inside, couldn't quite get it. As Perez beats on the rear end of William Whalen, though. Really good close battle between this top six. Christian Eisler a little bit further back, just watching the action in front of him.
That's Danny Duchesne, who we saw off track, stopped there. Looked like that was just his own fault, as nobody touched him, just spun out under braking. Now our leaders coming back up the backstretch, and already Gama trying to get himself a handy gap over Romagnolo.
Yes, indeed. Derlicka utilizing the giraffe as they make their way down this back straightaway. Not close enough to make the pass right now, but gets right underneath. Oh, Romagnolo gets off, of course, a little bit. This gives Derlicka into the outside, into Casio. Romagnolo has the inside lane. Almost make contact, as they do.
Did make contact. Yeah, he gets shoved off course, elbows out for Jesper, but that slowed him
contact!
down.
Contact between Romagnolo and Perez off with Casio.
And we saw on screen a pass about to happen for second place because Harwood got a good run on Jesper. Derlicka sticks his nose in down into the first corner, but he's not quite far enough. Action happening at the end of the first lap here in round 3 of the American iRacing Tuesday Series.
Well, I did call it. We would have an incident on the first lap.
It came in just saved by the bell there. So Nick Harwood still fighting to get himself up into second place, having started this race in third. Derlicka returns himself to second, but with a little bit of rough racing to do the job as we now jump on board with Nick. I can report as well that James LeBlanc had a bit of an incident on the first lap. That was well back, so don't need to go to it. It was in Spoon. That shuffled him down to second to last. Danny Duchesne, in the meantime, sent himself to the pits for repairs. Coming out of the hairpin, back around to Spoon once more. Ricardo Gama has been unfazed, although he's not been able to get himself that big of a gap, just about half a second ahead of Jesper.
Derlicka loses it through Spoon. This might give Nick Hardwood that chance to make the pass, but not close enough, couldn't close the deal.
Second time in 2 laps, Taylor, that we've seen Jesper get loose and take to off track to collect the car.
Spoon can be very difficult to get through. Oh, we have some.
Sorry, we got a big accident. Alexander Cofford is involved in it, and John Guillory. I saw another car. Let's see if we can get the replay. It looked like it started with Guillory, and it just caused a stack up. It was a separate incident in which Thomas Ellison got punted around. Here's Cofford. I'm going to see him getting into the spinning Guillory. And then there's the other incident happening with Ellison.
Yeah, just nowhere for Cofford to go. Ellison gets punted around. So unfortunate for them. Still early, though. A lot of time to make up.
All 3 drivers able to continue, thankfully. Really only have 1 car out of the race. That's Duchesne. He might return. He's just taking a long time for repairs as we go to 3rd place. And Nick Harwood under threat because William Whalen has gathered himself back together. And he's seeing if he can try to hook Harwood.
Nick Harwood has a nice run out of the Dunlop curve as they head down to Degner 1 and 2. no issues right now still. Hardwood is holding on to the P3.
And they've separated themselves from the car behind, which is Christian Eisler. As we look back at Whalen, driving in that bright green car, slightly different paint scheme than what he's had in past races. Used to that bright highlighter yellow. Boy, he is getting all over the back of Harwood, just hassling him right and left.
Making their way down to Spoon. Let's see if he gets hard onto the brakes here. Does. Not close enough. Goes up through the curbing on Spoon, down to the bottom of the corner. Let's see if they get a little bit of a draft right here down this back straightaway. Eisler just watching it right now, but still no major other battles. This is a place to be right now between these top four.
Battle for the final spot on the podium. Whalen is getting a little bit of a draft, but can he stay on course? No! Loses grip because there is a lot less acceleration out there on the AstroTurf. So he's going to be denied an opportunity another time. Derlicka seems to be closing on Gama in certain parts, but it's coming off the corners. I'm noticing that he seems to be losing ground on the leader here, Taylor.
Well, that last lap by, he ran a 57.28 compared to Gama's 57.55. So Derlicka's finding something here on the track to where he's able to make up some time. We'll see what happens. Let's follow this battle a little bit. As they go through this, hits the curve a little bit too much. Got to be careful with that here on the S's.
Working their way back and forth. Oh, I think, we've got another incident. Cristobal Valenzuela in the first corner, and he gets collected by the likes of Maxi Sorella. Let's see if we can find this. Cristobal started with a spin by himself. You're going to see the Hispanic-American driver just loops it at the end of the corner. And then as he's trying to get out of the way, unfortunately, cars scattering, and one of them picks the wrong side. And Maxi Sorella, unfortunately, took a tow. Valenzuela back on track, but in last place for the moment. A lot of action here at the start. Things not super crazy, though. Just a few minor incidents out on track. This is back in 17th place. This is between Justin Hall and Lucio Vargas. That's also Thomas Ellison close behind. Number of cars using the off tracks. They got to be wary. Remember that incident limit's only 30, Taylor.
Yeah, so these drivers need to keep an eye on that incident cap that they have. You'll see a little monitor pop up on their screen when they're driving to let them know their incident cap. So they need to keep an eye on that as well through certain parts. So need to be careful. This is still early.
Back up to third. Whalen all over the back of Harwood yet again, down into turn one. And just not close enough to try and outbrake him. Is it? Oh, wow.
He gets nose under there.
Yeah, he does. I mean, is it possible to try and outbrake someone into that first corner with the way the kink is there, or is that too much of an ask?
You can do it if you're really close to that driver ahead of you, but if you're that far back, it can be very difficult. You might accidentally hit the driver to cause him to spin out, which I know some of these drivers do not want to have happen, to cause that incident cap to go up for them, but that's really the only two options for these drivers, is either brake really late into the corner, or to just make sure they get close enough to put that nose underneath them.
Well, this is not usually considered a draft track here, despite some of the long straightaways, and yet, watching this fight, it's still pretty much the top five, very close to one another, and we're already 10 minutes into this race, Taylor.
Yeah, it's really close battling right now, very early on, and surprisingly, no one's really has a strong advantage. We usually see the leader start pulling away after 5 or 6 minutes, but Gama still is able to not pull away from Derlicka, as the rest of the field also not too far off either.
Watching from the back of Harwood, Whalen now very close. I think closer than we've ever seen him, heading up the backstretch towards 130R. What can he do on Harwood? If he could stay on track, he could have a great opportunity into the Casio Triangle. Loses a little bit of ground. And look at that. That aero wake is just a killer through there, it seems.
It can be. It can cause you so much time to where you can wash up the track. You need to be careful. Sometimes even just letting off the gas, let it breathe through that corner of 130R in order to gain that time might help you set up the pass into Casio.
Up in ninth place, Mark McDonald and Giuliano Romagnolo in a nice little fight as well. So we watch these two battle it out. Here's the battle farther back. Look at that, though. That's Karl Modoff just ahead of them, you see, in the green and white Porsche ahead of them. Despite his incredible pace last round, seems like it's not making an appearance here at Suzuka. So this train of five that you're looking at is Janowski at the front, then Modoff, then Montini, Romagnolo, and McDonald.
Modoff looks to the inside and to Dunlop, not close enough to make the pass, but still a really good battle amongst these
side-by-side action for third. Whalen had a look around the outside of Degner too, but I can tell you right now that's not going to go off very well. He had to back out.
Yeah, you cannot really make a pass like that on the outside into Degner. He looks down into the hard braking, tries to stick a nose.
He actually
a little bit of a dump. I think there was a little bit of a tap right there.
He's getting brave. He might be getting a little bit desperate.
He might. He may. I mean, we only see this really in oval and short track races, but we may see that bumper be put to use today.
In American Series, they call it the Chrome Horn. Don't know if William Whalen is the type to do that, though. The Canadian driver certainly showing that he's getting a little bit aggressive now, and that action has actually brought Christian Eisler into the mix.
Eisler has been closing in these past few laps with these two battling, which is causing them, with two cars battling side by side, lap after lap, that does not help pull them away from the rest of the field. That actually hurts them to where it brings in the field. So Whalen needs to try to get by Harwood as quick as he can in order to pull away from Eisler, but this battle is really starting to heat up now as they go down the front.
Yeah, Harwood is going to have to go defensive, but he chooses not to. He stays to the outside. Now with a nose in, William Whalen has the best opportunity he's had all race long. Side by side into turn one. Still keeping door to door, neither one willing to give up. William Whalen finally on the exit of the corner, powers off and peels that third place away from Harwood.
Really good pass from Whalen to get by Harwood. Now he's got his eyes set on Jerlicka.
See if he can run down the number 97. Now, behind them, we are riding on board with Christian Eisler, the teammate to a driver that I am not sure what's going on. Ben Perez is down in 11th right now. Did we miss an incident with him?
Well, he did have that lap 1 incident with Romagnolo coming to the line for lap 2, and he did hit the wall just a little bit, so maybe that might have caused a little bit of damage to the car. So we'll have to see what happens when the pit stops come around later on in the race, how severe and how long he'll be on pit road for that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that happening there. All the chaos that we saw coming out of the Casio Triangle. But I would not count Ben Perez out. We talked about the horrible results he had at the start of last season, made a big deal out of it, wondered if he could come back, and lo and behold, he whipped out a string of wins and good results and did come away with the championship. So we're only 3 rounds in, Taylor. You just can't count Ben out.
Oh, never count Ben out. He's always a contender for these championships here at the PRL Series, and looking forward to seeing what he can do for the rest of the season. The battle, though, for P6 is heating up between Modoff and Janowski. So they head into the 130R corner down to Casio Triangle.
Yeah, Janowski looking for a little bit better results as, wow, look at them accordion together. Nobody manages to run into each other in that, but Janowski wound up tumbling over and over, doing a barrel roll at the start of round 2 and kept going. I'm not sure actually where he finished in that race. I need to check, but he's had a much better start, currently sitting in 6th.
Yes, he has. And also Mark McDonald, he was running still in the P10 right now, holding a nice position. He's trying to find a way to get by Romagnolo and Francisco Montini. Having a good run even after his excellent podium finish at Imola. And he's just keeping it steady, nice, smooth, consistent laps. As Romagnolo tries to look to the inside of Montini into Dunlop, not close enough to make that pass as they head their way down to Degner.
Romagnolo's first race ended with a 2nd place, having started in 3rd. This race started 4th, but But instead of going forward again, he is sitting down in this 9th position, stuck in this train of cars with no place to go. Look at them weave their way around that hairpin, trying to get the power down. But boy, Montini, a lot of wheel spin, and you can see the gap that cost him up to Modov.
Modov closing in now as they make their way to Spoon. He looks to the inside. See if Janowski washes up a little bit. Nope. Nice smooth run through Spoon.
Yeah, just getting in his mirrors in a little bit, but look at the exit off the corner. Way better than Janowski. He's going to try and pull up alongside of Janowski. Drifts over to the middle of the track, but it's too little, too late. Are they going to go too wide through 130R? Janowski tries to hold the outside. Just barely keeps it on track, but look at the momentum he lost. Montini takes advantage, tries to come around the outside as they break into the Casio triangle. Still too wide, almost a little bit of a touch. Montini loses grip. Now he's under threat. Romagnolo takes advantage, coming to the line, gets better power, and I think this 8th place is going to go to Romagnolo.
I don't know. Here comes Mark McDonald now. He's going to get right behind Romagnolo, utilize the draft, try to push him a little bit. He's still underneath Montini, looks to the inside as they head through the first corner of turn 2 and gets by Montini.
Talk about things going south in a hurry. Montini was trying to make a move forward and wound up losing 3 spots in that.
Well, the 130R corner as well as Casio is all about momentum. You got to keep that up. Otherwise, when you do lose that, whether it be washing up or having to brake harder into the corner and brake check, you're going to lose that time. And it looks like Janowski gets a little bit loose into the Dunlop. Ooh, Romagnolo tapping the back bumper a little bit.
Yeah, I think he knows better than to try and stick his nose in down into Degner 1. He's going to stay in line, see if maybe he could set himself up for the hairpin, but just not close enough to Joseph as they now hit the brakes for this left-hander. Oh, but not enough as he gets into the back of Janowski. That was a center punch if I ever saw one.
I'm used to seeing this type of racing in the bootleg series and modified racing, not here at the road courses of Suzuka.
Gloves are off. So, and actually, if he even flashes his lights at him, these guys get a little bit heated. We've still got 2/3 of the race to go. These guys better calm down if they want to get to the end. I also want to report we've had some scheduled stops. Thomas Ellison has been in and out. He's our first taker now that we've opened the pit window. Out of the Casio triangle. They're going to stay in order, so let's jump back up to 2nd place. We wondered if William Whalen can start to put the screws on Jesper Derlicka. The answer to that is yes. Look at the pressure that green Porsche is applying to the Ford GT.
He has just been closing in these last few laps, actually running several tenths faster than Derlicka. Derlicka ran a 1:58.16 compared to Whalen's 57.73. So really closing the gap on him as they go up to Dunlop.
And Joseph Janowski is losing multiple positions right now. He was offline. Now he's finally back on the line, but it's switching back and forth through the S's. This is down in 9th place. There we see him side by side still. Is he going to lose all of them? Montini finally gets his revenge and gets by a car before they get to Degner 1. Wow. Through the S's, Janowski showing how critical it is that you stay on the racing line.
Looking in the battle for 4th right now, Eisler is starting to close that gap on Harwood.
Oh, but on screen, was that Janowski going off track? Yes, it was. A little bit too much of the brakes into the hairpin. Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, just too hard on the brakes. That corner can be so deceiving sometimes. You think you might hit your brake marks right on time, but next thing you know, you're off course and it's the wall.
Bad to worse for the number 7 car. What was slipping down to 9th has now turned into falling all the way to 15th place for the driver that put it in 10th position on the grid. As we come back live, we're watching Janowski work his way around some more, almost to the halfway point now. Just a couple more minutes, and then we'll see how many drivers try to split it exactly in half. Up in second place, Jesper Derlicka, still being hounded by the number 3 machine.
Going out of turn 2 right now. Nice smooth run for both of them. Whalen gets right up on the bumper. Works their way up through the S's. They are also closing in on Gama a little bit. Ricardo still not able to pull away from the field like we normally see some drivers pulling away.
I noticed that too, that this gap has been consistently staying at half a second between Gama and Derlicka.
Whalen gets a good run out of Dunlop. See what he can do to make the run towards Degner. And he decides to back off.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to try and make a move into there. Now that he's up with the front guys, I think he's probably going to be playing a little bit more strategic game, less aggressive than what he was with Harwood. I get the feeling with Harwood, he saw these two running away as he gets right under the rear wing of Derlicka. I almost wonder if he felt some pressure to get by so that he doesn't lose touch with these two.
That's definitely what it looked like, because looking back, Nick Harwood is still about a little over 3 seconds back from our leader, the top 3, so Whalen actually was thinking he needed to get by in order to close this gap.
And get by he did. Ooh, he's very close to Jesper once again. Getting a little bit of a draft, heading up the backstretch. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. We've seen him wash out here in this corner yet again. Just loses some of that momentum. Blue 130R prevents him from having an opportunity here into the braking for the final chicane.
Gets a good run though out of Casio. He goes down the front straightaway. Let's see what Derlicka does. Is he going to go on the defensive or just hold his line? Whalen closing in, looks to the inside. Down into the first corner, side by side they go. And gets to position. New into P2, William Whalen.
Textbook stuff. And Jesper Derlicka, who had a horrible finish last round, might be thinking long-term here. I didn't see any sort of defense into the first corner. He knows he's got pace. I wonder if he's thinking just about getting a good result today and not really fretting about a win.
We look back at P8.
This is between McDonald and Montini. They've lost track of Romagnolo, who's since left them in the dust. They now come up to Dunlop, just about 2/10 between McDonald and Francisco. Boy, these cars take those curbs hard.
They do. You got to be careful with that too, because that could definitely mess up the splitter of the car or the underside of the car. But Ben Perez finally cracks into the top 10 finally after that incident he had on lap 1. So, but still not really gaining a whole lot on those front of Montini and McDonald. We'll have to keep an eye on him occasionally to see if he's able to make up any ground.
Riding on board with Montini. We are now at the halfway point at 22 minutes in the race. As they come to the backstretch, this is where drivers have been gaining, but very few have been able to make passes. In fact, I think we've only seen one actual pass up to 130R. And that was tense moments. Just a little bit too far back for the Porsche for now. This field is very much spreading out. Battles are getting fewer as drivers are working their way into what their pace should position them out on the track. Still not seeing a whole lot of takers for official stops. I see Kyle Smith has been in and out for his. James LeBlond, it looks like, has taken his. Other than that, everybody in is getting repairs. So that would be Cawford, Duchesne, and Sorella seems to be our DNFs. Justin Hall is another taker. Looks like he's joined by Rob Crouch. You see them having entered the pits, although Hall was locking him up to get him down to pit speed. Hopefully he didn't get a speeding penalty from that. See them hitting their marks nicely. That is Rob Crouch in the Ferrari that you see. The 4GT is Justin Hall. Crouch is out first, and Hall is in there a long time. I think this is indeed a speeding penalty.
That's unfortunate for Hall. He was running such a decent race these past few races now, and unfortunate for that penalty. That's going to cost him big time, especially in the team championship.
He's back out and going, but multiple positions lost. Highest hitter right now still Thomas Ellison. Looking through to see what our closest battles in the field are at the moment, and I think it's actually for the lead.
It is. William Whalen's been closing in, was a little bit faster than Ricardo Gama into that last lap as they go through Casio. Ooh, Ricardo gets a little bit offline. Here comes William Whalen. Out of Casio, looks to the inside, not close enough.
Yeah, but he's got a good run. We've seen him make a brave move into one before. The slipstream helping him forward. Will he stick his nose in? He's running out of time. He could. Oh, and he backs out.
He's probably waiting to see if Gama makes another mistake again. And then he might make the attack. He just figured he did not want to just dive bomb into the first corner that quickly and cause an incident. Up through the S's they climb. Always like running that. It's just a nice rhythm section through that S's. Real fun to just drive through there, no matter what type of car you're running, whether it be in these GTE cars, GT3, or other forms of cars on here.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I always hated the S's at Suzuka, but maybe it's because I'm horrible at them. Still, we ride on board the gearbox of Ricardo Gama. He's been leading every single lap of this race. Whalen is trying to change that. Whalen looked like a for sure winner in the first round, leading most of Watkins Glen. This time, he's in the reverse position, though. He has not been up at the front, but very much challenging.
Yeah, he got a little bit loose in the hairpin, so he lost that time that he had. As they head their way down into Spoon.
They haven't really dropped Derlicka too bad either, we should point out.
No.
Oh, and Vargas is now our highest hitter. He's come in and out. Still a mid-pack driver, so we're waiting for some of our top guys to make the move. You see Vargas running in the Porsche. Down to 17 minutes to go. With about 12 minutes left, we should see everybody have to come in.
Let's see what happens. They come by the pit road. No one taking. Oh, here we go. Carl Modoff decides to come in.
All right, this is our first fast driver. He was in 7th position. Actually, I think he was in 6th before he came in.
Yes.
As he slides down the order.
We got some contact in Casio, Kita, and it looks like Janowski again. Janowski, though, decides to come in the pit road.
Take a look at that. That actually turned Kita around. Did Kita maybe get a little wheel spin? Or oh no, he outbraked himself into the corner and was slow.
Yep, he had to slow down because of how much he outbraked, went off course, probably trying to serve that little bit of a time penalty. And then Janowski just rear-ended him, nowhere to go.
Can't find the replay, unfortunately. So Kita also headed into the pits. We can report that Carl Modoff is back out on track and is now our highest hitter. In fact, I think Vargas is going to jump both Kita and Janowski. Oh, no, actually, Janowski and Kita are coming out side by side right now into the first corner, and they're being approached by Vargas. This is going to get a little bit hairy, and it looks like Kita is given the spot. That almost got very interesting if they could have potentially been 3 wide into the first corner.
That would have been something you don't do here at Suzuka.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen 3 wide into there, and if I have, if it's actually worked. Down to 15 minutes to go. The pit window steadily closing, but our leaders stay out for one more lap. Meanwhile, I think we're staying on this. Oh, no, we've switched over to our leaders now. That's Gamma leading. William Whalen is in the green Porsche in second. The red and white Ford GT is Jesper Derlicka holding down third. They have left Nick Harwood in the dust. He's about 3 seconds behind off the podium.
Ben Perez decides to blink and come down pit road as well. Let's see how bad the damage is on that car.
From this angle, it doesn't look too bad on the front.
No.
Which side did he hit, actually?
It looked like it was just right in the nose.
Well, he's
so
already
far,
passed by Modoff. Go ahead.
Yeah, no really major damage on the nose of the car or on the right side from my angles of the camera, but still wasn't a long stop either, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, pretty consistent stops throughout the field. Everybody just about 9.5 seconds. No real big variations that we've seen other than the cars that have had expected long stops, such as Justin Hall with his penalty. Modoff still our highest pitter. There's back to the leaders once again. Whalen keeps getting close, but doesn't seem able to do anything with Gamma. And that's what we saw with Jesper as well. He was holding right on his rear bumper. It seems like this number 81 is a tough nut to crack.
Sure is, but we do have a couple of lap cars up ahead. Unless they decide to pit this lap traffic could come into play a little bit. They make their way down to Casio Triangle.
A little bit of a lockup for Gamma. I think he gets away with it.
And there we go. Our
One,
top
two,
two comes in.
but only two.
Along with Harwood,
All right.
Eisler, Romagnola. Here comes Mark McDonald out of Casio Triangle and also makes his pit stop.
So here's a thought. Jesper Derlicka stays out. We saw this in the first round, remember? He waited patiently behind William Whalen.
He did. So maybe this time he decided to do a little fuel conservation and see what he can do.
Well, obviously, it's allowing him to go a little bit farther than the other cars. Whalen looks like he is out. Oh, almost able to jump Gamma. Another side-by-side battle, and he accelerates that little bit quicker. William Whalen in the pit stops manages to get himself by the leader. But now is the critical time for Billy. He has got to put a hot lap in to keep Jesper Derlicka from jumping him with a little bit of fuel strategy.
We'll have to see what happens now. Derlicka right now entering the hairpin while Whalen is still going up through the S's, making his way to Dunlop. So there is still quite a bit of a gap right now between these drivers. Carl Modoff, though, closing in on Nick Harwood.
We see our leader, and as we go to Modoff chasing him down, you're going to get flashes of another Bushfink car just behind them. That is, in fact, Christian Eisler. He started this race in 8th position. He's currently sitting in a 6th, and they shouldn't jump Jesper, so this is legitimate. This is a pretty good run for Christian. Not as good as we're used to seeing last season, but yet again, we're seeing consistent results for the Iceman. Could pay off down the line.
Yeah, but he's got to keep his eyes in his mirror. Romagnola closing in the gap. Had a nice run into the hairpin. They make their way up towards Spoon.
Our leader's in.
And here we go. This is the time. Our Whalen and Gamma have just got out of Spoon. Ooh, as we have an issue with Kyle Smith somewhere on track. That was out of Dunlop.
Well, while you check on that, I'm keeping an eye on our leader, Derlicka, coming all the way down the pit lane to a halt. He started in 2nd place, seeing if he can move one forward. William Whalen is now coming out of the final corner up to the start-finish line. Oh, it's a very short stop for Jesper Derlicka. 2 seconds quicker than everybody else. He comes out. The momentum is now in favor of William Whalen, but Derlicka gets to the first corner first. His strategy has worked. Jesper once again uses a little bit of drafting to save himself some petrol and put himself to the top spot.
Oh my goodness, this is going to be something right here, though. Oh, Romagnola spins in first, corner 1.
Oh no.
This is going to bring in the Montini and Ben Perez.
Not a good race for Giuliano. I was expecting a little bit more from the 905 today. You see him back on track and going, but with Montini about half a second back.
Probably a little jet lag. He just did get done with a race in New York last night, so that's probably his reason. P4 battle going on right now between Modoff and Nick Harwood.
Modoff. Oh, go ahead.
Heating up now. He looks to the outside, not close enough, down through the hairpin. Nice run through there.
If these guys start battling, Christian Eisler is there to pick up the pieces. Harwood started this thing in third place, sitting in fourth now. Modoff finished in fourth in his very first race here this season at Watkins Glen. He's looking to repeat that. And I think actually if he does that, he might still retain that points lead. Remember, he started in ninth. This has been a hell of a climb. Looking back at the bright green and white Porsche of Karl Modoff from the rear of Nick Harwood. Just a little bit too far back for a pass down into Casio. Down to 9 minutes to go here, Taylor. It's becoming do or die time if you want a position.
Yes, indeed it is, but I'm still amazed of what Jesper Drlicka has done. I mean, we were shocked when he did it at Watkins Glen, as we got another battle going on.
Oh, no, we're just taking a glance at Jesper. Just giving him some airtime. He's had a little bit because he's been up at the sharp end. What a clever driver this guy is. The man from Texas seems to have the strategy sussed out. He had a bad race. They do have a drop week, so it could still come back to haunt him if he has another bad race. But right now, Jesper Drlicka is looking very nice here in this championship. Remember, he managed to win that very first race with this same strategy.
Modoff and Harwood still battling right now out of hairpin. Going through the 230R. Looks to the inside. Modoff gets a nice run. Tries to cut the course a little bit as far as he can. Run the least amount of track. Down into Spoon. Harwood gets a little bit loose. Goes off course a little bit. Modoff could not capitalize on it though.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is where Modoff really wants to get that exit. He does not. I would have thought for sure that'd be a beautiful moment for him to try and get the traction down, but I guess running a little wide opened up the exit for Nick Harwood. Keeps him safe momentarily. For about 4 more laps, though, Nick is going to have to continue to fend off the Club West driver. He's got 5 seconds up to Gama. So he's nowhere close to getting up to a podium position.
They want the battle for P2 between Gama and Whalen is heating up a little bit. Gama's been closing in a little bit lap after lap and was faster than Whalen that last time by, a 58.08 compared to Whalen's 58.15. So Gama might decide to go ahead and start battling with Whalen as they go up towards Dunlop. Not close enough right now, but still, if a small mistake from Whalen happens, Gama will be right there to capitalize on.
Boy, this is getting tense here at the end of it. Not so for Jesper Drlicka. If you were wondering if his quick pit stop means that maybe he could be short on fuel, well, he's actually extended the gap by about half a second over Whalen. I think there are no worries in Jesper's head about whether or not he can get to the end of this race.
Harwood and Modoff still battling it out, coming out of the hairpin to the 230R, making their run down towards Spoon. Let's see what happens if it happens again for Harwood. If he gets loose in that corner, into Spoon. Nope, gets a nice run through there, hits the curbing nice and smooth. And just Modoff cannot close the deal and close that gap on Harwood.
Yeah, these two seem very, very evenly matched. Tell you what, Harwood's going to be a little bit happier with this result than with last round. He was involved in a big incident in Tamburello when Montini lost control. They went 3 wide with Whalen as Whalen was exiting his scheduled pit stop. Ooh, bad exit out of the final chicane there for Harwood. And here comes the car of Modoff. Looking to the inside. Does he have enough to try and get him?
He's got a nose under him. They're side by side. And Harwood, just there he is right there. He's just blinking a little bit on my screen.
Oh, still door to door, but the power off the corner goes to Harwood. Beautiful defense. Eisler may have dropped back a little bit, but oh, another stick of the nose to the inside. And wow, Modoff is starting to try some desperate moves.
Modoff's got to be careful with that as they go up through Dunlop. He gets a nice run through there. Looks to the inside. He's got a nose right there at the quarter. Go up to Dangard. He's not going to be able to make the pass.
Yeah, Degner is definitely not the place you want to try it. Oh, a lot of curb there on the outside for Harwood. Oh, and he slides wide coming out of Degner too. Here comes Karl Modoff for a second time, but he lifts and doesn't attempt a pass down into the hairpin. And this has really brought Christian Eisler into the mix, as well as Mark McDonald, who's running them down because of this action.
Modoff just trying to find a way. They go back down towards Spoon. Looks to the inside, tries to just stick a nose, not close enough. Ooh, Harwood gets loose through there. Modoff not close enough, though, to capitalize. Hugging the curb and coming out of Spoon down the back straightaway they go. Eisler just having a good time with the popcorn bag in hand, watching this battle, and ready to sneak on by if these two make a mistake.
Great run, he goes defensive, almost squeezed his way, or Modoff off the track. Modoff has to take a big lift to reserve the car. Now, was William Whalen ahead of Gama when we last looked? I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So in that case, Whalen has actually extended the gap over Gama. Something's happened to Ricardo. He is now about 1.5 seconds away from Billy. Staying on this battle. This is the best one on the track right now at the sharp end of the field. Ooh, way off the apex for Nick Harwood. Despite multiple mistakes, though, he has been putting a brick wall up and is denying that position to last round's winner.
I know Modoff's got to be frustrated with this. He knows he has a fast car to probably catch up to the rest of those 3 drivers ahead of him. Up through Dunlop, but just Harwood has got this car so wide, it's just so difficult to pass here without overcooking the tires or over, extraining the car. So go through Degner 1, down into Degner 2, hard onto the brakes they go.
Man, Karl is just right there. I really think it's going to have to take a wild dive from Karl to make it work.
It will have to, by the looks of it. Through the hairpin he goes. He's kind of diamonding almost the corners a little bit last time by. He didn't do that this time. But gets a nice run up through the 230R. Utilizing a little bit of the draft slipstream right behind him. Not a whole lot of drafting places, but here we go. Looks to the inside through Spoon. Not close enough.
I thought about surprising him. He is going to get one more lap to do it. They're going to get the white flag this time by. They climb up the hill. We're not missing anything at all with the leaders. Gaining and gaining. Pokes his nose in. Just tries to scare him up to 130R. Nothing doing there. It's the closest we've seen anybody hold, I'd say, through 130R. Beautiful job by Modoff, and another beautiful job through the chicane, but is it enough off the corner? Harwood finds the traction just slightly better, but the slipstream is going to help Karl.
Down the front straightaway they go. He looks to the inside, just shows his nose, shows, hey, I am here, I want to get by you. But Harwood's going to deny that possibility right now as they make the climb up towards the S's.
Last lap of the race. You see it on your screen. White flag is out. Back and forth, weaving through the S's. Usually you can't pass through here. Karl had a go at it a little bit earlier. It didn't work, but I don't think I've ever seen someone attempt to pass the way he did into some of the apexes here in this back and forth section. He's holding right to the tail of Harwood. Behind them, you can see flashes of the battle for 6th position. Eisler's trying to hold off McDonald. Jump the leaders when they get close to the line. Derlicka's holding that gap at just a 1.5 seconds, just bringing it home from here. Towards Spoon Corner. Modoff once again, a little bit far back. I feel like if I was Modoff, Taylor, I'd try and square off the exit of Spoon as much as possible.
That's what he needs to do in order to try to get enough of a momentum built up down this back straightaway. I think he might have it. As we go to our leader, Derlicka.
He's got one more braking zone to go. A win in the first round. A bad result at Imola, but coming here to the land of the rising sun, Jesper Derlicka makes it 2 out of 3 wins. I asked him if he thinks he could take the championship. I'd say it's a possibility as he takes the win here. Whalen gets 2nd, Ricardo Gama gets 3rd, and somehow Harwood holds off Modoff for the final 10 minutes of this race. Eisler does the same with McDonald. Oh, and McDonald might lose a position at the line as he runs into the car of Montini, who steals 7th place. What happened there?
Looks like that McDonald got loose through Casio.
Oh, no, he didn't just get loose. He got hit. He got by Eisler, and Eisler turned him around. There we saw McDonald coming away from the incident. So we come back live. Ooh, wonder if the stewards are maybe going to look at that and have some penalties to hand out as the rest of the field comes to the line. Bit of a battle for 15th, Mabroten and Janowski. That one is barely going to go to Mabroten. And I think that's it as far as our battles on track. Schilling going to be the last car to cross the line in 22nd. We're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, but stick around because on your screen you'll see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. Welcome back to Suzuka International Circuit, the site of round 3 for the American iRacing Tuesday series. And this series is, of course, brought to you by SIMMSA. Simulation Motorsports Association is a sim racing platform created by experienced racers. Make sure and check them out at SIMMSA.net. They can help you with all kinds of stuff, including solutions for racing simulator requirements, custom-built simulator parts, and complete customization and upgrading of existing simulators. Again, that is SIMMSA.net. Our results, though, today, we've got a two-time winner here after 3 rounds. Jesper Derlicka showing he is one to watch for the championship. He is followed home by William Whalen, who by our accounts, we think, if drop weeks aren't taken into account, will be leading the points. Ricardo Gama finishes in the final spot on the podium with Nick Harwood taking 4th. Carl Modoff, nice run by last round's winner to go from 9th to 5th. Christian Eisler as well, gaining some spots, but still lacking the speed from last season. Still, I'd say this is a good result, getting consistency with another 6th place. Francisco Montini finishes in 7th with Mark McDonald climbing not quite as much as he did last round, but still 11th to 8th. Ben Perez, opposite direction for him, 5th to 9th today. Something is wrong with that number 1 car. Giuliano Romagnolo rounds out our top 10.
Finishing in 11th position will go to Federico Montini, followed by Jean Carini in the 12th position. Takeshi Kita will come home in the 13th position, followed by his teammate of Lucio Vargas in 14th. Thomas Ellison will come home in the 15th, followed by Rob Crouch in the 16th position. Pete Mabroten will come home in 17th, followed by Joseph Janowski, having a difficult race here tonight at Suzuka, who will come home in 18th. Followed by Jean Guillory in the 19th position, and rounding out your top 20 will be Cristobal Valenzuela.
Kyle Smith, whose accident we never got to go back and look at, finished 21st. James LeBlanc took 22nd. Remy Provencher takes 23rd today. Gary Schilling moves up to 24th after qualifying last on the grid. Nice job to Gary. Danny Duchesne unfortunately finishes 6 laps down at 25th, and in fact, I think he DNF'd, if I remember correctly. Maxi Sorella, same deal, 26th. Justin Hall, 27th. And Alexander Cawford, 28th and last today. We have our winner ready to talk to us, Jesperoni, as he sometimes goes by as a nickname, Jesper Derlicka. That's 2 for 3, Jesper. Last race didn't go so well, but this fuel-saving strategy for you seems to be working a treat.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really more down to the Ford just being a little OP with the buffs it got this season. So I think that helps my driving style, and I'm happy to take this victory here today. It's my first race I've finished on the new pedals, so it's a win in more ways than one.
Now, Whalen ran you down and obviously made the overtake and got by. We saw you not go defensive. Was that pretty much all part of the plan?
Yeah. I mean, I saw that he was way quicker than me, and he was catching me in almost every corner. So I just let him by to see if he could maybe get past Ricardo.
So we have a much shorter track next round heading over to Road Atlanta. There are passing opportunities there. But that track tends to be a little punishing on cars if anybody hasn't off. Does that make you nervous, or do you consider Road Atlanta one of your strong places?
I would definitely consider Road Atlanta one of my favorites. Probably top 5 tracks in iRacing. Plus, my team Radicals made a great setup this week for Petit Le Mans. So hopefully I'll be able to use that. And I mean, it looks pretty good for Road Atlanta, but I'm going to need to put in just as many hours of practice as I did this week.
Well, considering you've now got a target on your back with 2 wins out of 3, I'd say that's for sure. Congratulations on another win. We hope to see you in a week's time. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks to you guys for always the great broadcast, to Thrustmaster as my sponsor, and everyone watching my stream and your stream as well. All right. Thank you.
No problem. That's Jesper Derlicka, our winner here today. Up next, Taylor has caught up with second place finisher Billy Whalen.
Here with William Whalen for P2 here today at Suzuka. William, it looks like Jesper did the same thing to you again here at Suzuka, like at Watkins Glen, tell us, what was your thinking about going on with this race? It looks like you had a fast car, just could not close the deal today.
Yeah, I thought I was going to win it for sure. Jesper made a great move letting me by. Sorry, I just had to turn off my spotter. Yeah, Jesper did really good with the fuel saving. Overall, he was just better in the end.
Yes, he was. Next week we go to Road Atlanta. You know, this is a great track for a lot of racing to happen here. A lot of close action, a little bit shorter compared to Suzuka. What is your plan going into that race as far as strategy-wise to try and maybe see if you can get by Drilica or the rest of the competition?
Road Atlanta is definitely one of my weaker tracks, so I'm just going to have to put in a lot of practice this week and try and get the consistency down.
All right. Well, William, congratulations again on your P2 finish here this week at Suzuka, and we'll look forward to seeing you at Road Atlanta.
Thank you, sir.
And Joe, I believe you caught up with our third-place driver, Ricardo Gama.
We did indeed. Ricardo, this is seeming a little bit familiar. The driver who puts it on pole is followed closely by Jesper Drilica for most of the race, and then the pole driver finishes in third. Are you taking notes on this?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. It was a very strange race for me. I was not expecting to make the pole in first place. And then I tried to manage my car. But I know sooner or later that William and Jasper will catch me, so I'm good.
So it sounds like you're happy with that third place. This Sailors team has some fast drivers. We noticed that your teammate Pinto wasn't here today. Do you know why he couldn't show up?
Yeah, he has an appointment at his work today, so he couldn't make it.
Well, that's a bummer. Now, about your race, you saw Jesper following you. Were you aware of what his strategy was with the fuel saving? And did you have any intentions to try to break that up, or were you just kind of conceding that he would jump you in the pits?
I was trying from the beginning to save as much fuel as I can. And the problem was that I made a big mistake at the pits. I put too much fuel. So I think sooner or later Jasper will catch me, because he makes this kind of move every time he starts from a little back. So I was trying to make that kind of move in the race, but was not easy. It was a big mistake in the pit for my part.
Well, one last question before we let you go. Obviously, you're getting some very good results. So what's your goal in the championship? Do you have a position that you're aiming for to be when all 10 rounds are over?
Yes, since this is the first time I'm racing with the Precision Racing League and with the Sailors team, my goal at the end of the championship is to finish it at the top 10 at least. So I think it is possible to do.
I'd say so with what we saw today, getting a podium. Congratulations, Ricardo, and we'll see you in a week's time.
Thanks, everyone who put this up, and thanks to you guys for another amazing broadcast.
No problem. That was the number 81, Ricardo Gama, taking third today. However, that is going to wrap things up here for the Global SimRacing Channel for tonight, at least. We'll have more racing all week long. And we want to thank a few people before we go. A big thank you once again to SIMMSA. That is the Simulation Motorsports Association. You can find them at SIMMSA.net. Also, thank you to the Precision Racing League and all the people who put all the hard work in to organizing these races, as well as many others, and to coming back to the Global SimRacing Channel to bring us on for coverage. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to Eric Ekholm and June Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Taylor, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel. We're on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. There's also a big red button that you need to hit that will allow you to subscribe to our channel. It says subscribe. If you click that, you won't miss a moment here on GSRC. Next race, as we mentioned, going back to the States for the 4th round at Road Atlanta. That'll be Tuesday, October 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. See you on the track.